So the MFUs, you know, and what we discussed before, this is a carbon copy paste of what UPI evaluates all employees on. So there it is. The facts and objectives were more detail regarding how things have been and observed in reference to these. There are areas of opportunities. If you scroll down, keep going. These are the facts and objectives. And notice it says, these items below align with items listed on the job description. Multitasking, demonstrate excellent verbal and written skills, applying skills of instructional design as needed in the role, all these different things. So, what I have is, there's been a couple of emails. You sent John an email where you said, last week you said, hey, is this the one? Yeah, Jace mentioned make sure I follow with stakeholders. Remember that one?
So you did what?
Jace mentioned to follow up with stakeholders.
Right.
And mention when a project is done. So you did that. Oh gosh, that thing.
What the deal is.
In any case, in that email, you mentioned to John, hey, it's been real busy and everything. Within the past 7 days, I've met 7 major project deadlines. And you and I have talked on your project tracker the need to determine the difference between a task and a project. Now, if you've met, the way I read this, if you've met 7 project deadlines, the project deadline has been met, therefore the project is done. So pull up your tracker. I may have to switch it over to my computer since it's not doing well. And list for me the 7 project deadlines that you were referring to.
There's the harassment training, the SharePoint for July, the leadership policies PowerPoint, coaching for success, alternate homepage link to L&D site, and then the Honey Badger video, and then the new harassment mandatory message to be sent out, and project tracker.
Okay. So take the last 3. The Honey Badger video, is it not a element of, now wait, let me check myself first. Is the Honey Badger project done?
The video was a milestone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a milestone. Be careful, because what you're using is in industry standard verbiage when you say to others, I've completed 7 projects. So the Honey Badger video being a milestone of the project, that right there means there were at best 6 projects completed in the last 7 days.
Well, I read off 8, so that reduces
Okay.
it down to 7.
Okay, then we're at 7. Now, the next one that you mentioned was what? The last one was the project tracker. What was the second to the last one you mentioned on your list?
Oh, let's see. Harassment, SharePoint.
What was the second to the last one?
I don't remember. I just named them off here.
Oh, you didn't do them in order?
No.
Okay. So go ahead, go read them through again.
Harassment, L&D.
Harassment, I think was the one. The harassment one was what? Sending out the
Yeah, the harassment training assignment to 200 UPI leaders.
Okay. So is that in reference to that email direction that John gave to send it out again? It must have been, because you'd already completed it prior to last
Yeah,
week.
it was completed that it was sent out to 200.
Okay. Now, that's a task of that project. It's an extended or an additional task.
Yeah,
to
it
that
was
project.
basically phase 1.
Okay. So all I'm trying to do, Steve, is help you understand clearly the difference between a task and a project. And
Right.
the email just indicated to me I need to still clarify that for you.
Remind me what all the email said.
Said, I have too many things open right now. I'll just open this one again. Said, John Jace mentioned to me to make sure to follow up with stakeholders when a project is completed. In the past 7 days have been a blur. Within this time, I have met 7 major project deadlines. Now, in the email you sent yesterday regarding this meeting we just had with Melanie,
Mm-hmm.
regarding human resource training plans and job descriptions, you said, hey colleagues, I'm more than happy to help with this. I always enjoy learning new ropes school. Last week I worked very hard to hit 7 major deadlines in order to get ahead for this week. So again, deadlines.
And so there I didn't mention projects. So it was just
Okay.
deadlines.
And then you mentioned I have 3 new huge projects coming up on my project queue from last week, which require much attention. What are the 3 new projects so that I'm aware?
They're right here. So let's see, we got the current projects are, it's taking a ton of time following up with phase 2 of the harassment. A lot of people have questions, have trouble understanding how to log in. That takes a lot of time. The honey badger and project management, and then Jeannie keeps asking me when we're going to start the security training for. So the bottom 3 are the 3 I was referring to, and then the top is a continuous. The phase 2 of harassment is continuous.
Okay.
And then so the major 3, honey badger, project management, and then I've kind of started the content for the security training for Jeannie.
Cool. All right, so I'm looking at your tracker with you on my screen so it's clear too. I like how you've split this up. Does this help you that it's now finally split up from completed projects to current projects to next and on hold, the different tabs?
Yeah,
Does that help?
that's really nice.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just adds clarification. That's why it was suggested, and good to see that it's there. Current projects, harassment phase 1 and phase 2. Okay, follow-ups. Yeah, I agree with this because it's not done until it's done. And we talked about that last time too.
Right.
So cool. Where are you at as far as, based on what I know, this should be in the green. Right?
Right.
So go ahead and throw that in the green. Always make sure that you're color coding these things.
Sure.
And honey badger, good. Project management formulations, good. Security training, looks good. How come it's in the yellow? Is there something you need or?
I'm just anxious to get started on it. Jeannie talked to me beginning of June, and then we met on the 23rd of June and talked about the content.
Okay. What is anxious to get started mean? Meaning you're excited to do it, or you're wondering where you're going to find the time to get it, or everything's in the green on your end? Remember, this is you managing the project. So is there something on your end that puts it in the yellow?
Well, when I saw the announcement that I would be needed to help with the training plan stuff, I didn't want too many other things to get in the way of me getting to this. She talked to me about it a couple of months ago, and then in June she was getting really serious about it.
Okay, so June she's getting serious about it. And what's serious mean? Is there a deadline needed? Is she saying just ASAP? Or
Yeah,
what?
yeah, ASAP.
Okay, you got to take an ASAP and ask her what deadline would you like, and I'll tell you if they can be met. Or if she just says you just do it ASAP, you need to determine what the deadline is.
Well, I wanted to wait till we got through with the meeting today with Melanie, and kind of see if this was how involved this training plan project was going to be.
Okay.
And
great.
then I'll touch base with Jeannie and put in a date.
Okay. So that all being said, I don't see, just so you know, and this is in regards to all best practices and commonalities as I've been taught and trained on project management. There's not a need to put this in yellow yet, but maybe just a note saying, this needs to be done ASAP for Jeannie as my schedule permits. No deadline from her, something like that. To be determined means we just haven't determined that yet. So I see a yellow and I see a to be determined, and I don't understand what that is. And if you don't look at it for a while, you might forget what it is too. What's cool is, I like how you did a consideration for this new project of the training stuff. And you're considering, juggling
Sure.
things. So cool. Determine when this deadline is going to be on this security training for Jeannie. Take it out of the yellow. And then here's what happens. As you communicate to Jeannie the deadline you're shooting for, you asked for ASAP, I think I can do it by this date based on everything I've got, Jeannie. And if she might say, oh no, that's way too long. Then you can say, okay, let me take it back to within consideration of all my other projects. I'll let Jace know you need something. There's a reason for it. Now, if it's, we could just then prioritize.
Right.
Because we're always prioritizing what? A request need compared to all other request needs based on what? We're prioritizing those based on, comparing them to the need of the company. Typically, when everybody makes a request, it's to them the need. Well, they just don't know what else you got going on. And that's
Right.
okay.
Sure.
All right. Now that you know that this training project really is looking at dedicating, seriously, at tops, half a day. Not all at once, because some of it will be training on one day, doing it another day. Or you might split up to doing it within 2 days. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the requirement will be 4 hours tops. 4. So that now should help you determine a due date to present to Jeannie.
Sure.
Now here's the thing. When you present that due date to Jeannie, if other things come up that push and challenge that make it possibly impossible for you to meet that date, you'll then put it in yellow at that time. Because then you're feeling the anxiety and the worry of, I just got handed something by John or Jace or somebody else, and John and Jace say, yeah, do it. So I'm gonna put it in yellow and put a note in next steps saying, communicate to Jeannie, I might need to push this out. And then she can either say yes, and if she says no, then you can take it back to John and I. Or you just say, Jeannie, seriously, I already know from John and Jace that this other factor that is causing this ripple effect is high priority.
Yeah.
Now, if you'd like to ask John about it or Jace about it, please do, but yeah, that's where it's at. So this is how the tool works. Any questions, comments on that part?
Oh.
All right. Coordination, planning, communications, others. Oh, go down to this last item you have on that tab. Scroll down where you're at. Now this is a good example of the difference between projects and tasks.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you have these here, and I like how you label them as, say, these are weekly and these are whatever. But notice, if you look at it, there's so many different things here. The Gallagher classes item, you already have listed up there in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't need to be here,
Right.
okay? I'd suggest taking that out because it's a duplication and it's a task of that project.
Mm-hmm.
Notice how you have in the far right column, far left, column A, These are, you call this coordination, planning, communications, / other assignments and duties. These aren't projects. This is a project tracker. So you're not going to be able to ever have any one of these items indicated as 0 to 100% complete in the green, yellow, or red,
Right.
due dates and so forth. These items don't belong here, Steve.
Okay.
And the reason why they shouldn't even be here, and if it seems picky, I'll explain why they shouldn't be here. Because you're determining and learning the difference between projects and tasks. Let's go to your completed tab to push that home. Let's see. Go to line item 16, for example. I'm just picking whatever pops out. Or in fact, let's do this. Let's just start at the top, line number 3, and looking at just column A, project name. Count how many times you have listed something that has to do with our SharePoint site. So let's look at them together. I don't see anything in 3, 4, 5, 6. I go to line number 8. No, sorry. That's different. I can't see that right. Okay. Line 16, L&D site uploading.
16.
Scroll down.
Line
Where's that
16.
up? You're right, up. That is such an unclear image. Line 16, L&D site uploading. Okay?
Mhm.
This is, if you have, and you have this listed elsewhere, your efforts on the L&D site, meeting with James and doing these items, this is either the project or it's an item, a slice of the whole project. Because if you scroll down to, where is it? Line 21, L&D SharePoint design and layout.
Right.
Okay, updating the site and doing the design and layout, that's one and the same, right?
Mhm.
Would you agree with that?
Sure.
Okay. And then line 23, L&D SharePoint site email invitation.
Well, let's see. L&D site updating. Okay, line 16, meet with James Blackwood concerning file types, file renaming, placement of files, editing of files, publication of storyline modules in correct format. This was kind of connected with Van Tran when we were having trouble bringing up some of her documents and files and finding all the appropriate gens files.
Okay.
That's what this is all about.
Okay, so that does not pertain to the L&D site updating.
Right.
That's that. This should be a history item or a next step in the Van Tran stuff. Okay.
This was kind of a big. Let's see. File updating.
Okay, now you're about to make that still a project, but that has to do with Van Tran's CapEx, right?
Well, this had to be done in order so that she could find certain files and so that everything else would be set up for everything else that would have be going on. So Van Tran, the SharePoint, this is kind of a foundational thing
Okay.
for all the other projects that would.
Then it sounds like a foundational thing, it's a task for each one of those projects. It happens to hit on a couple at once. You understand that?
Yeah, this was a file types, file renaming. Yeah, this was a lot to do with finding and organizing Jen's appropriate files and unappropriate files and sorting them out. This.
And if I'm not mistaken, and my memory may not serve well, I believe you have that listed as another, yeah, right here, line 11. Updating storyline Gen's modules to match band's versions made with new storyline software. So now we're looking at a duplication.
Okay, I'll go through those.
Okay.
The past couple of weeks has just been full bore on all the recent projects.
Okay. Now, not to assume this is clear, yet not wanting to belabor it. Look at line 21 and then line 23. You have L&D SharePoint design and layout in 21, update look and feel. And then line 23, L&D SharePoint site email invitation with hyperlinks. What was needed, Steve, was designing the SharePoint. So everything regarding designing the SharePoint are tasks associated with and you're contributing to fulfillment of that need.
Mm-hmm.
So milestones and tasks of doing a project are not projects, they're milestones and tasks. So yeah, go through this, and we've talked about this from at least not the beginning possibly, but at least for half of our time together on this project tracker. Projects, not tasks. Be sure you're indicating the difference. Otherwise, just like kind of what happened just then, you'll get lost in the details, and it's not a true projects tracker that can be efficiently, effectively used at two times. One, as we're going through your current projects, because if you're doing tasks instead of projects, you're going to have a lot of things listed. It's not about having a long list, it's about having a short list. And those short lists, each item on that, with your phases and milestones, that indicates to yourself and to anybody why, Jeannie, I need more time that I can't give to yours. Or, yeah, I got time because I can look at all my phases on my milestones, and I'm giving myself a quick glance. I'm in the green, yellow, or red, and I'm 50%, 100%, whatever. All right? So go through that. When can you have, I like what you've done with the tabs, that's great. When do you think you can have this done? And toot sweet, in order and organized, so that we can start using it as desired and needed.
Well, I've got all the recent things completed, but as far as the previous ones before 2 weeks ago, I can go through there and have those, let's see, like Monday?
Be fair to yourself. Monday's good? Okay, cool.
As far as projects versus tasks.
Okay. Since this is supposed to serve as a history and record for year-end evals and different things too, as you're going through those, check your color coding and completion statuses of all of these too.
Of all these right here?
Of all your completed. Of all of them. You know, next projects, there's nothing there. Projects on hold. Projects on hold may be correct. They don't really need color coding anymore, but had there been color coding along the way, it would have been, you would know if it was left in the yellow or red as to why it stopped, or if it was just on your part, the green. And it's good to know. Because then when you pick it back up, you know there was nothing pending on my part. You know what I mean? The harassment coaching for success, which is in your current projects, that can be moved. Is it in your current? I might be wrong.
Coaching for success that's completed.
It's incomplete. I mean, it's in the complete. Coaching for Success.
Yeah.
Now, remember, your milestone task per John's request was completed, but the project request to provide Coaching for Success training is not happening. It's been tabled.
Yeah, that's phase 2. I put to be determined right there.
So this whole project should be moved to projects on hold. Okay, because John said we are going to do it, but looking at the calendar with everything that Irwin wants us doing, everything we're doing with the HRBPs, everything else that's going on, he said, I can't in good faith say to you guys, have it all ready by September or Q4, knowing that most likely we're not going to do it. So he was being fair to us. He was doing what we're doing, managing time, juggling priorities, and he communicated fairly, nah guys, we're probably not going to do it.
Okay.
All right. I don't think we really need this thing. Let's turn that off because it's getting loud. Yeah, you looking at your screen, I'm looking at mine, that's good. We just refer to rows and lines. So go through this thing, remove tasks, have it be projects based.
Okay.
And regarding every bit of information you have on here, every project, indicate what you determined was the case. Was it completed? Should it be moved to projects on hold? And even when put on hold, what percentage of the project is done, not the last milestone? Coaching for Success, you did it on time. So in your notes, you say, it simply says requested information by June 6th, provided by June 6th. But that doesn't mean it's 100% complete. The project is on hold.
Yeah, that's why phase 1 and phase 2.
I don't know if you're understanding me regarding the difference between phase 1 and phase 2. Let me get it with you. Where is that? Current projects?
Completed.
Completed, okay. What line is that on, brother?
45.
Gotcha. 45 through 51.
Yeah.
Coaching for Success. The project is provide the training, okay? So I see you got phase 1 complete, that's okay. You know what, I don't have a problem with that. Phase 2 to be determined. So, but again, what I'm trying to tell you is so that your efforts going forward will be more simplified. I don't have a problem with the fact that phase 1 is listed as 100%. But here's the thing. When you change the color coding of this, if it's picked back up, and now you're going into phase 2, and phase 2 has an issue, and it's yellow, and then John just says, let's table it again, you should take that without changing it and put it in the table, and make a note as to why it's yellow. It may be in yellow not because of you, but something else. You see how this serves as a history of picking up projects, putting them down.
So what
Being
color?
involved.
What color would you recommend that be?
I would recommend it stays in green.
Oh, okay.
But you not list a phase 1 as 100% completed. That's why I stated in your history, you had next steps, get John the following, and then it moved over to history because you did it.
What about if I put
On time.
the phases in the description area?
Yeah, because that column in green, 0 to 100%, states how much of this project is done, and are we good, green, yellow, or red? The same thing would apply to your deadlines. Again, the deadline is the project deadline. If you're going to have deadlines of phases, by all means, put those in your next steps, and then when they're completed, they just go over to your history if you want to keep them. Sometimes I don't even keep that much detail in my history. Because if it's done, it's done. I live by next step going forward. So your deadline deliverable, right now, it is simply for the whole project, not phase 1 or phase 2. All that should be in here is to be determined.
So what I have in there, phase 1, July 6th you want that taken out?
All that should be in there is to be determined. Regarding the entire project, deadline to be determined. See how these columns interrelate? Project name, description. What's the status of completion of this project? So right now, in status of completion, as far as a percentage goes, it's probably 20% complete, whatever you feel is good. Because we've determined how it needs to be developed, how it needs to be designed. We know who the SMEs are, we got some information on it. If we pick this back up someday, we don't have the same questions that you've already done a good job at completing. We've done the communication factor. All we need next time is John coming up and saying, hey, remember that Coaching for Success? We got a deadline. Pick it up and let's do it. We're gonna do it by Q2 next year. And, of course, right then you go, whoa, or okay, that fits. And then it's, okay, where did we leave off? Oh yeah, we're not having an external partner come out. We're gonna have to develop our own. John did send us PowerPoints, so I gotta pull that up in the file. I already saved that in the project. Cool, pick it up. It's 25% complete. It might be more, but we'll be conservative, not assuming John then says, I wanna change everything, whatever. So you see how that works? It's 25% in the green. You did everything you were asked to do. And it's deadline delivered, to be determined. You start getting into milestones and tasks, break down everything, it's gonna get muddied up and unclear. That's for your recent history and next steps. So, all right. Apply those kind of things throughout the tool, because you're gonna have simplicity, it's gonna be clear, and it doesn't need to only just be clear to you, it needs to be clear to me and anybody else who needs to pick it up. Because if you and I are out, and John says, Erwin wants something, can I get my team on it? Who was it that just did that to me this week? Goodness, I'm sorry, I can't remember, but was it Erwin? No. Who did I have a meeting with? Oh, Rana, regarding the CGMP training. She said, here's what we've done in the past. I want to know what kind of resources are available, how we can partner with you guys to get it done, because we've done that with Jen's and Aaron in the past. So I have to have an immediate, in my mind, recollection or a quick reference, because I don't trust my memory, to then say, you're just talking to me about a request, just like you did. Jace wants me to get on this training. Got to have a quick reference, and it's got to be clear. All right, so that might be enough on the projects thing. Any questions or comments on that from you, Steve?
No.
All right. This is still a work in progress, and it's getting there. You think you can have all these aspects of clarifying efforts and removal of tasks? I mean, the tasks don't have to be removed, they just need to be placed in the right place. Tasks need to be in recent history and or next steps. Project is the big grandiose thing. Any breakdown you want to include, do it within that line of the project. Anything related to that thing, SharePoint, anything related to SharePoint, it goes. Now, if you do the SharePoint, it's done, and you put it in your completed tab, and then we decide, we're gonna do a whole overhaul. Now, with you updating images and videos, that's not another project. That's now a task, but it's part of your task list. Remember when we talked about it? Now you can argue different. You can argue different.
That's kind of hard. June compared to July. How do you?
Sure. We'll go back to your current projects and go to the last line, line 31. You got in here SharePoint layout design, attendance record, project now attendance record. I like this because it shows that you recognize you might be needed to help out with that, but it really should be with Kim. So right now, if she knows how to do it, you can pretty much be done with that. That wasn't a project. That was a task.
Yeah, these are just all the coordination things that I could think of that I threw in there. Just
Okay.
since they're kind of included in the Outlook calendar, I threw them in here as well, but I can take them out of here.
Okay, good. So, what you have now, because of projects, you know what, Steve, I might retract that. Sure, it doesn't really, as long as it's clear, the difference between projects and tasks. So what you should have on there for, very clearly for you is, there's an ongoing project that has a start and stop every month. And you should have a pretty good idea of how many hours are needed now to upload new images, replace the featured video, and add, now it's just add, the 2 worksheets for the month. The 2 handouts, sorry, of the month for the new topics.
Yeah.
And it should become, you know, kind of like just paying your tithing every month, or whatever you do. I do this every month, but that takes time, and therefore I'm gonna have to juggle not just projects in this tracker, but this tracker also has to be juggled with all other stuff, like the things you have here, because these are good things. One-on-one meetings, Outlook calendar, you know, new project coordinating, and so forth. So, the Gallagher thing, this should be part in the Gallagher project. All right. Enough on the project tracker from me, I think. Go to your Outlook real quick. Here we are halfway through this week. The color coding of projects,
Yeah, I didn't do any color coding. I made sure I had it done for last week.
okay? So, and that's good. You did it for last week, and it's fantastic. So now you're able to, anyone's able to look at, wow, look at the yellow. Yellow needs attention on 4 days of the week, and that's how much. But now look at that green, the leadership and development SharePoint. He's obviously got to knock that out, and that's the time he's put on it. You know, so when I see this, I see that, and I just go, yeah, I need to schedule something with Steve, like this training meeting with Melanie. I'm not going to interrupt that. Go to this week. Coaching for Success is still blocking out your calendar. Go ahead. Yeah. I happen to know, because we're meeting weekly now, what that means, and that really shouldn't be there. That should be removed so that if Jeannie looks at your calendar, for example, and wants to meet with you on that training piece,
Right.
she can know. You can't manage this stuff as a lag measure after the fact. So keep it up to date, day to day, if needed. You may not have to change anything every day,
Right.
but keep it up to date, day to day. Color code as you go, so you don't have to then make it a big task, especially after the fact. Because when you're looking forward, remember, it's all about being prepared at any given time for anything that comes at you. So as you look forward, you can quickly look at your projects tracker and your calendar and know, well, heck, looking forward, I've got 2 big projects on Thursday, Honey Badger and project management. And by the way, just at a glance, I don't have to read these labels. At a glance, I know that Friday requires some project management time too. You'll not miss a beat. It helps. And you seem to work well with highlighting and different things like that. So it's not just about tracking how much time you spent. More so, it's about how much time is demanded of you. And that's why you're gonna have to say, yes, I do that now, or yes, but I can't do it now. Notice I didn't say no. I can't do it this week, but I can do it for you. Can you wait?
Right.
All right? So it's got to be lead time, not after the fact. Because what's going to happen after the fact, this week's going to pass, and then you're going to be busy into next week. You're not going to go back. Didn't it take time for you to go back and color code everything? Well, that's because you're starting, and that makes sense. But you don't want to have that every week going forward.
Sure.
You won't have the benefits of what that can serve you. All right. again, Project Tracker, Outlook Calendar, and vice versa. Is that gonna serve you well? Any questions, comments, disagreements?
No?
Cool. All right. Got too many things open here. Close this. Don't need this. When you communicate with folks, you'll be able to be very concise too. In those emails, Steve, we have yet, between you and I and these tools, we have yet to determine a clarity for you, what are projects and tasks. Therefore, I don't have clarity either. So John came to me and said, Steve's doing 7 projects? And I'm honestly, Steve, I'm sitting there going, I don't know. I can think of what I have them on. And I know I can't just do a quick glance at your project tracker because it's still not clean. So please get it that way and we'll be cool.
Well, I'll touch up the last 2 weeks a little bit more, and then especially everything before that.
You got, you talk about your calendar?
Tracker.
Say that again, because I'm sorry, I didn't think I
Oh.
understood.
You mentioned bringing up the project tracker up to date, and so, yeah, I'll touch up the past 2 weeks a little bit more, and then especially everything before that.
Yeah, everything you have on there needs to be correct and concise if it's really going to serve. So you got some time and effort to put in this. Also understand, maintaining your project tracker is not a project. It's not a project. It's a tool. It's a tool you use all the time. It's a task. It will not have a deadline. Okay? It's just something like checking your emails and staying up on your emails daily, going to meetings when scheduled, helping out with other things. It's just tasks we do.
Sure.
Part of our life. All right. Give me one moment if you don't mind.